guys. Remember kind of the thought of the day, right? You can identify a problem in 10 seconds. You can probably fix it in 10 minutes, but to make it a habit, it's gonna take 10 weeks. Got it?
Hey, we all family here, so we all gotta work together, so we brothers, all right? Hey, brothers on three, 1, 2, 3, brothers!
I knew that the northern part of the state was important. So when I wanted to move to Birmingham, I called Travis Trickett, who was the OC at Samford at the time, and he recommended Ben Neill. And Ben was the #2 quarterback at Samford at the time. In fact, he said, David, if there's one guy I would build my company around or one guy I'd hire tomorrow on this whole team, it's Ben Neill. The leader of FCA, he leads our stretch and our breakdown. You know, in a sense, he's the leader of our football team. What we got when we got Ben was we got one more guy that believes in family, that believes in faith, that believes in hard work, that is not scared to earn every inch, and that is very excited about building something. If it weren't for Ben Neill, we wouldn't be where we are right now.
So Decatur, Alabama, where I grew up, this is Decatur High School. This is the stadium that I played in, stadium we used to work out in the summer, running stadiums up and down these bleachers right here and watching games when I was a kid. Being a quarterback in a town like this, when the town shuts down on Friday nights for the games, is just something special. And the quarterback position, like, it's not, I think it's different than any other position in all of sports because it becomes your identity. You know, not just on this field, not in this stadium, but when you're in the classroom, in the lunchroom, when you're at church on a Sunday, when you're at a restaurant downtown, like when you're talking to your friends' parents. And I think it's because it takes that type of person to be a quarterback, where they're, you know, willing to bear the responsibility of a team. And that's kind of the lifestyle of being a quarterback.
I could tell you the first interaction that I can remember, he was a 7th grader, I think. And I see this little blonde-headed, blue-eyed kid back over there, and he is burning holes through me with those eyes like lasers. I'm going, this kid's really locking in. I went, wow. I walked back and I told the coaches, I said, that kid right there is going to be something else. I said, I'm just telling you right now, he's got it. You go through his career and you look at the way it ended. He played his last game on a broken leg. They do x-ray next day, found out the fibula was fractured. You know, we go on and we play a real close game at night and get beat by a team that beat us previously in a year. And I can remember, I don't know, it's probably 1 o'clock in the morning, he's still sitting back here in his uniform. And everybody else is gone. We said, hey, bud, let's go. It's time to go. He was that guy.
Love you, man. We've got a lot of love for you, Coach.
All right, you too.
I really appreciate it. You know, football for me at Samford is where I was part of 3 quarterback competitions and I lost them, and so that comes with a lot of hurt. And sometimes you think that the game took a lot from you, but in reality it doesn't. It really gives you a lot, and I think I learned a lot by actually not winning the starting job and about playing quarterback. That you're either a quarterback or you're not, and it doesn't have anything to do with how you get recruited or whether winning the starting job. You learn how to lead and give yourself to something a little bit bigger, and I think that's a really special, unique lesson that I learned. Just that even if it doesn't work out the exact way that you wanted it to, you'll never regret giving your best.
After that scrimmage where they announced starting quarterback job at Samford, I think one of his parents maybe said, well, do you want to quit or maybe transfer? And they talk about how he was just like highly offended by that question. For him, quitting wasn't an option. Like he couldn't even process that. What do you mean quit? Like where circumstances might have pointed to this is not obviously what he envisioned. For him, he was committed to something, and this was the dream and this is the goal, and he's gonna see that through. So probably one of the biggest characteristics for him.
I think as he matured, he understood it was more about developing and doing the best he could, you know, and being able to walk away saying, I gave it my all.
Another thing that's walking out these doors is leadership, and that's what this guy's all about. Ben, you know, is a special guy, and he's everything you want in a player as a coach. You know, he just got his first job. He's going to be working with quarterback country, and if I ever had the opportunity to hire him, I'm going to, because he is special in so many senses. I got a little man doing April, and he's got half the heart and integrity that this guy does. I did all right. Ben Neill.
I remember y'all went down there to do QB drills, because y'all were doing flip. Y'all would kind of be here, y'all would hit it, and then throw it, and you know, that's the first time.
Every day. That's how we
I love it. I love it. We do flip all the time. We have different variations, and we totally stole that drill from Trickett. But anyway, I just remember seeing your charisma and your leadership, and then just seeing you throw it and all that. And other thing was, you know, on my way up here, I just remember thinking about the importance of really having the right guy that understood what it means to play quarterback in the state of Alabama. Yeah. And had to be a guy that played the position, that was well coached, and geez Louise, I got lucky. I got lucky.
And yeah, I mean, I remember that day vividly. Just being out here, walking around this field, trying to make the decision. You know, what am I going to do after school and start training QBs? So, I mean, there's direct reward for hard work, right? If you work hard, you know, you get rewarded for it pretty immediately. So it takes work to start something, you know, from the ground up, or you know, in a new market, right?
It takes kind of an interesting guy, you know, an entrepreneurial type mind to say, yeah, I want to get into QB training. And I believe in the big picture, and I'm playing the end game, the long game. You know, the cool story about Ben is he's called me several times the last 3 or 4 years. You know, I mean, the quarterback niche is hard, right? And again, there wasn't a blueprint for how we're going to get there, and we had a plan, but you know, like, what does the growth model look like? What does it mean to scale in this business? And I remember Ben called me several times, and you were just like, Dave, I could be doing a lot of different things. And what does the future look like? You know, sometimes Ben wants to, you know, go, you know, 8 locations in the next, you know, in the next 12 months. And I'm always like, hang on, let's get the system right. Let's get the model right. And so it's a good give and take of, you know, let's come up with a plan and let's execute. But then there's a good discipline of let's slow down and not be hasty. And, we've learned a lot over the years from, you know, slowing down and believing that, again, you know, the most powerful results are delayed, right? And
the thing that stands out to me the most probably about Ben Neill is his passion for the game. And when kids see that you have a passion for something, they realize that it's important. When that happens, then the kid understands that, hey, he cares about me. He wants me to do well. I've watched what quarterback country does, and I'm just really impressed with the energy levels they bring to the table with these kids. And now I'm after watching, and I'm learning more in an hour than I learned in a month going to every clinic in the book, watching these guys. That kind of stuff right there, where you're always trying to learn and always trying to better your craft so that kid that you're working with gets the best he can get. I think it's huge.
We want to see a perfect craft, and that's what we want. That's what we want. But as a coach, you really have to hold back a little bit, because we don't want to create overthinkers. We don't want to create perfectionists to an extent, and we never want to kill confidence. You know, we're kind of one-man shows here, and it can be really easy to just roll, you know, train, and you never stop and, you know, think about the words you're saying, how many words you're saying in a session to a kid, when you say the words, when you build up, when you break down.
I think Ben gave time to everybody, whether you were a superstar or whether you were, you know, the manager on the sideline, and everybody's job was important, and he made them feel like their job was important. And I think that fosters a that relationship, but also that's leadership. You know, that's what you want from people, is to lead by example. And I think Ben did a nice job with that at a very young age.
He learned a lot from his father, who went to work every day, and and his kids saw that. That was a great example that he learned from his dad, and he wants to now pass that on to all these other young men, young boys, and the skill sets that's necessary to be successful.
The quarterback position is extremely blue collar, and there's a lot of hype, and there's a lot of media, especially now more than ever. There's a lot of Hollywood aspect to it. But at the end of the day, the guys who are really quarterbacks and the guys who are successful, they're blue collar guys. They like to work. I think there's something just unique and special about the fluidity and calmness and effortlessness of a throw in the midst of chaos. And that's what a quarterback is.
I've trained with people across the country, and every time we have breaks from school, I want to come right back here. Ben's believed in me since day one. He's developed me since day one, and it's as good as you can get with QB Country and Ben. I came into Hoover High School, one of the biggest programs in the state, if not the country. And this program, the community, it's a football community. So I had to win over pretty much everyone. And then we came into Week 10, Region Championship, both of us undefeated, us and Thompson. Probably the biggest rivalry in the state. It was an incredible experience. I think by halftime there was only standing room at the Met. It was a pretty surreal moment, to say the least. That last drive, Coach Niblett came over to me. He said, "We're going to score. We're going to win this football game. You're going to lead the drive." And no one doubted. Ever since then, we got in that huddle. We broke the huddle, and we went 7 for 7, drove down the field. I think it was like 78 yards in just under 3 minutes. I wish I could tell you what was going through my head, but that was probably the calmest drive of the night, honestly. All the film study we did, all the training I've done out here, all the practicing, it just kind of took over, and we just executed to a T, and we scored, obviously, and we won the football game.
Almost dropped the ball, picked it back up.
I've trained Tyler down in Mobile since middle school. Incredibly proud of him. He was Mr. Football in the state of Alabama, just gritty, tough. And really, when you think about Ben and Tyler now training together here at QB Country Birmingham, it tells you a lot about the trust factor. It also tells you a lot about the consistency of language and verbiage and these things that really matter when you're trying to grow.
Anything you're working on lately mechanically you want to make sure we focus on?
Just making sure I load, keep my elbow down.
Good.
And then getting my knee to bent, my front knee to bent.
That's good, man.
First time I saw Tyler was like 7th grade, Spring Hill College field, back in, you've been here for 20 years, so how long
Going
ago
into
was
my
that?
8th grade year.
What does it mean to be a quarterback in the state of Alabama?
I would say it means everything. I mean, just learning from older guys and everything else, it's more of a challenge because there's so many great quarterbacks in Alabama that you have to compete with. I mean, you don't just show up to a college or a high school, you're first string. Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of great quarterbacks that you're competing with, but it's not about competing with somebody, it's about competing with yourself, or you're never gonna make it in a way.
The parallels between David's career path and what Ben experienced at Samford were very similar in a lot of ways. I remember reading a paper that he wrote about it, and he wanted to continue to connect and to also share the gospel with people. And he did that through sports, and the QB Country business model fits that perfectly and has allowed him to continue to build those relationships through QB Country, to be able to improve the skill level of people, but also at the same time talk with them about their faith and to grow as an individual, not only in the sport, but as a professional and as a person.
I couldn't be more excited about where we are. Coming off the biggest year we've ever had. The biggest question for us is, what are we not doing? Where can we serve our quarterbacks better? Where can we bring more value to the training experience, and even to each guy, each quarterback where they are?
Which is what we've always said, right? We want the quarterbacks that come see us to get more than they're paying for. Not only is it going to serve our quarterbacks better, our coaches are going to be able to focus on coaching on the field and not as much administration stuff.
Specifically, that translates to giving a new location a better chance of success, right?
Yeah.
The other thing would be kind of recruiting, and how can we get better with that service.
To be able to go to one place, one database, and be able to see our quarterbacks, evaluate them next to each other one by one. It'll make the access for the college coach a lot easier.
Absolutely. I love it, bro.
Thank you, man.
Hey, thank you,
Enjoyed
bro.
it.
Enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then I know we'll be talking about kind of getting the game plan together, but
All right, sounds good.
I'll holler at you. All right, bro. It's a wrap. Hey, Cal. Dude, I forgot something. Alabama's quarterback country. Let's go.